episode of Brothas Podcast, episode 8. We here. We took a week off, but we back at it. It's your boy Willie Black here as your host. We got JC, True, Spence, Big Hunk in the building, and also J Flame on the boards. What's going on, man? How was y'all weekend? Happy Father's Day to all y'all brothers, man.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Happy birthday too, Spence. I feel like you just had a birthday, right?
Right. He had a bunch of celebrations.
Man.
Right.
Celebrations,
right.
Man.
Anniversary.
Anniversary.
Juneteenth.
There you go.
All that, bro. So it's been a celebration time for me, man. We still celebrating over here.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So what y'all get to for Father's Day, man? Y'all get any good gifts, anything like that?
Yeah, bro. It was good, man. Relax. I know, like we just mentioned this.
Why are you shaking your head? What's wrong, Tyler?
Yeah, let us know.
Tyler, you okay, man?
You want feeling the love? You want feeling the love over there, man?
Come on, baby.
Hey, man.
Tell us about it, Tyler.
Gifts. Okay, let me not look at gifts as a material item that you get in observant Father's Day. Because me being able to be around the kids, and as far as my father being around, that's priceless, and it's not about material things. So when I'm thinking hearing nephew, True Blood talking, I didn't get him a chance to finish, but I was gifts. The gift of life, the gift of the life of having your father around, the gift of you being observed as being a good father. I got, probably like you all, I got 1,000 of text messages. Happy Father's Day.
Right.
You're a good father. So when you say gifts, Will Black, I'm sorry. I guess we're not looking at the actual gifts that we got, like presents.
You didn't get that Rolex. That's what you tried to say.
Right.
That's exactly what you sound like to me.
Right. That's what the hell I'm saying.
Get nothing at all.
He said all them years he gave out tennis bracelets, he ain't getting out one Rolex.
Not one.
But why is that, man? I mean, why is it that the man who is the protector, who is the provider, who's the one that has to go all out, burn brain cells, like me, you've been married 21 years, so you done got every gift you can give, and you still out there trying to create miracles. You got to get this awesome gift for Mother's Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the kids don't be accountable.
And please don't let Mother's Day and the birthday be close together, because you then got to jump out your pocket, right? and don't come through that door with something weak.
Or don't come through that door with nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
So are you saying that women are more materialistic than men?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It reminds me of a joke Dave Chappelle once told. He said, we only care about nice big houses and nice cars stuff because that's what y'all like. He's like, if we could sleep with y'all in a cardboard box, we do it. House, you know what I mean? So
yeah, man. I don't know.
Man, it matters more to the woman for sure.
Yeah,
it does.
But I think
man. It does.
Right, because now they're gonna co-sign. They're gonna jump on that quick. That's what I was about to say. I think it depends, right?
It all depends on the household. Get True.
And I know you said material, but kind of maybe it shifted kind of to what Tally was saying. Maybe you're looking for something different, because at least for me, right, identifying our different love languages. So like quality time is mine, and she knows that. So like making sure she understands that. So like just being able to kind of like chill, relax, and do certain things. So like I think, at least for me, like that was big. Like we went to the farm, and we got some fresh veggies and fruits, and clearly she don't like being outside, but for that day she's like, all right, we're gonna go. It was hot, she didn't feel like going out there, but we did it. So that part was like dope for me, So like,
that sounds good. But how many more socks and underwear do you need?
But see, that's what I'm saying. So I didn't get those. So because she now. You know,
have too many
a few years
now.
ago, but like we getting there. We getting there. We ain't 21 in yet, but we getting there. So like, I ain't got no socks and ties.
Okay. All right.
Socks from last year.
Listen, I got
to pick the socks from last year though.
I got to pick it back off of Tally, and I'm gonna extend it. You know, at least in my household, because I got probably a few more years than you brothers do, but it's definitely a blessing to be able to, be considered a good dad or a father. And also the blessing is, and my father is still living. So that's a blessing too, to still be able to, be able to call my father up and wishing him a happy Father's Day. And of course my kids and my lovely wife. I mean, all that is just the love of just, family, especially this day and age, what we're going through. But on the flip side, when it comes to gifts, I mean, this Father's Day, I mean, they kind of hooked me up. And I don't know if it was because of the years.
I was gonna say, how long we gotta wait?
I mean, I don't even know if I should actually really share my gifts that I received, because I'm not gonna do that.
Like we need hope. You gotta give us some hope. Like, brother, just stick with it. It will come.
It's gonna happen. He
got the rolling talent.
It's gonna happen. I got something bigger than the roller. Yeah. I got a brand new flat screen TV for my man cave.
Damn, nigga.
Yeah, 60-inch, baby. I mean, it is what it is.
How many years is this?
And wait a minute, I'm about to finish now.
How many inches?
Also hooked me up too with one of those, which I got to get my kids help with, the Bluetooth, the speaker thing that goes with it, that for the surround sound. Oh, so I'm listening. Brother cannot wait for the sports to start back up.
So you telling me that we gotta wait till all the kids get out of the house before we get gifts like that?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it's just
until they get a job.
I don't have a
job, nephew. Till they get a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Now in
the beginning of the of my relationship and all that. No, I wasn't getting gifts like this, but I guess it's gonna take some time.
So just tell us how long we gotta wait, man. Like Spence, you pretty close, man. I guess 21 years.
Yeah.
You gotta be close.
Yeah,
man.
you gotta be in your
at least 25?
over 20. Yeah. Over 20. Yeah.
So we make jokes about it, because I always joke that the men don't get the same or the equivalent of what women get. And but my family did okay, man. They got me like a they call me Sadiddy, man. So they got me some, like a basket of the foods and the drinks that I like.
Okay.
And my wife got me a bracelet with everybody's name on it. And so, I'm making jokes, of course, but it was really touching and it was appropriate for what I like. You know what I'm saying?
So they got you a Pandora bracelet?
Did your wife just walk in the room or something, man? Because you talking like you under duress right now, brother. No, they did all right.
No, they got her that Pandora bracelet, okay, with the charms.
Right.
She got a Pandora bracelet.
The Pandora bracelet with the charms. Yeah, you a fool, bro.
Yeah, a fool.
Now that was funny.
I'm collecting receipts.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Hey, that's the Pandora about me, brother. Got the dashiki on it, let you know that. It was cool, man. It was cool.
So what kind of tangible gifts you got, Tally, then? I know you already told us.
Oh, Lord.
Why you say?
Because you say your kids got jobs, right? You said wait till they get jobs.
No, I was just saying for Chris.
Oh, okay.
Get them kind of gifts.
All right, my bad. I misinterpreted.
I mean, like I bought my father a ride lawnmower, and I just bought him a recliner this year.
So you told him he just need to do some more work.
I bought him a recliner.
You ain't work hard enough. Go ahead and go out there and do some more work.
But as far I'm talking about a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. My daughter did come through with a nice car. She bought me some what you call that? Some shower gel stuff.
You talking about me?
No Bed Bath and
She got me a gift
Beyond.
card. She got me a gift card.
Smell like peaches and
Came
cream.
And you know, the thing about it is she used her own birthday money. I probably gave her half of it, but she
responsibility.
She used her own birthday money to buy me my gift.
That's personal.
Yeah, salute.
My son, if y'all don't know him, I got an old cool son. He just say happy birthday, Pops, I love you. And that's supposed to have been suffice. You know? I'm like,
oh gosh. That's funny.
you know, I'm still paying half of his rent at Greensboro. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, Pops.
Pops. You're the greatest.
But let me tell you this. On Father's Day, he came and picked me up. And my dad's been doing church in the yard because, you know, we can't get social distancing. But he picked me up and we had, you know, we did church service together. That was priceless. You know, he came up and I said, that was cool. That was a cool moment. Then he hung with me. You know, we went to a cookout and he hung with me. So his gift was give me that time. For a 20-year-old, time is priceless.
Yes, it is.
He said, okay, I know my dad liked to go to church. I know what he was doing, so I'm going to come and pick him up. We go to church. So that's what I was saying before, like the time spent, that's priceless value. And that probably, truthfully, meant more to me than if he would have just and gave me, you know, a bottle of cologne or something, or a shirt and tie. You know, that those 4 or 5 hours that we spent together, that meant a lot. So,
salute.
you jokes
I
about I ain't getting no gifts.
With that Rolex though, you'd have been like,
no, for real though.
Hey, like, I need to go now.
You gonna do whatever you got to do.
Nah, seriously though, Willie Black, because I ain't no big watch fan because I broke so many of them when I was animated. A Rolex, give me what he gave me as far as spending that time. That was more valuable than the Rolex. Seriously though, I would have had diamonds and all that stuff. Well, let me take that back. but nah. Him spending time with me was of greater value than a Rolex.
We don't need no Rolex. I got plenty of black companies y'all can go buy some watches from. I ain't dropping no names yet. But.
You should.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, Tally and Twine.
I need them big face watches.
Tally and Twine. That's probably one of my most popular ones that I wear. A Few Wood Men. A real nice watch. So trying to think else what I have.
All right,
you said Tally and Twine.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, my bad.
We gotta get some free stuff first. You know
You're right. But, yeah.
Shouting people out. We gotta get some services out here.
Yeah, but they got some nice stuff out there.
Yeah. So y'all do anything special for Juneteenth?
Yeah. I stayed in the house away from all potential foolishness.
Yes, sir.
Man, I'm so fired up about Juneteenth, dog.
Yeah, but it was
fired up.
But it was dope just seeing that other people. Let me not say more people acknowledged it and celebrated it. No, because I was saying other like, no, not even. No, but I was saying I thought it was pretty cool that you know it's growing legs and you know now you have some states that are making efforts to acknowledge it. And of course, I know Tally gonna be like, I'm never satisfied. So I like the effort. I like the start that they, you know, pushing it out to being something state. But we're gonna
see the same momentum's there next year. We'll see.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Exactly.
Mean, if
when everything dies down, let's just see what happens.
If the 4th is a federal holiday, right? Nationally recognized holiday. I don't know why our emancipation shouldn't be nationally known. You know,
but you know that takes some years to get done.
That does.
Yeah.
But
they always tell us we gotta wait, dog.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
I mean, as a people, would you guys feel? Okay, of course. I guess we would like to have, you know, June 19th, you know, to be a national holiday and all that. But do you guys actually think that they're just doing that just so that we can kind of like be kind of like hush hush? Okay, let's just give them another Black holiday, and so they can stay hush hush, to whereas we're really, really trying to get some change going on out here in our society.
That's the history of the world, though.
Well, yeah,
Like
exactly.
they always give you something like really pretty and sprinkle on top to say like, hey, look at this, we're gonna give you all this, but then you gotta look at what's really still in place. You know what I mean? Like that's been history, period.
I got a question for you.
Change, because that brings. Well, go ahead, because
no, say what you're about to say.
Because I've been having these conversations last couple of weeks. Like, does change really happen throughout history? Like, do people really know what you have to do to really make change? Are people, and you can ask yourself this, are you willing to make that sacrifice? Some people going to have to lose their jobs. Some people have to lose their homes. Some people have to lose their life, like, to really change a system that's in place. So do things ever really change, or do they just kind of give you something here, but you got to give up something on the back end? You know what I mean? Like, now you look throughout history, that's just been the case. Like, okay, we'll desegregate schools and all this stuff, with black children go to school and learn, but you don't learn the same as the white. Like, it's still systems in place. So does things ever really change? Or do things just look pretty on top, but still underneath is still what it is?
Let me ask. I do believe things change, but I believe that things are changing for equality and not changing for equity, right? So when you talked about like the desegregation and stuff like that, black students able to go to these PWIs, predominantly white institutions, right? Like, that kind of made it equal, right? So you can go, but does equal allow you to catch up when you've been marginalized for so long, right? So that's almost like, and I brought this up earlier, speaking to some other individuals, but we think about like the quarantine that affected like education. So the students that have been out and never had a laptop, like, if you just give them a laptop and the internet, like, are they going to be at the same pace as kids that's been owning their own laptop and knowing how to utilize it? Like, to me, I don't think so, because now they have to spend time trying to figure out how to actually utilize the loaner laptop or the laptop that they just got, compared to a kid that's already been using this like for years at a time. So like, just because it's equal doesn't mean that it's equitable. So I think, yeah, that's a change, but are you going to see the same gains at the same rate? I doubt it, because like, there's always a learning curve, right? So like what you said, like we're learning things, like we're learning like how to manage money and stuff like that, right? So like, now you have access to it, but like, what do you do with it? If you don't know how to utilize it, like, it's kind of like you're still spinning in the mud.
So I believe there's always change, but it's based upon what are your desired outcomes and what are you looking to be different. And when you say you, are you just talking about yourself, or are you talking about a collective we? And so there's a lot to that question about change. And I don't know if you're ever going to get equity. I think what we're looking for is opportunity, and equity and opportunity. Because we've never been on the same. Even in our own communities, we've never been on the same. Even when, the Moors ruled the earth for 1,000 years, they were never the same. There were people that was different classes then, and there were different shades of brown and yellow and tan. And so it's all depending on what we're looking for and how we define ourselves about the change that we desire. And we can find positive change if that's what our lenses are looking for, or we're looking for negative change, we're going to find that, or we're looking for things that never change, we're going to find that too. So it all depends on what we're looking for. I tend to have a lens for optimism, so I'm always finding something that's going from negative to positive, because my lens are just tuned in for that. And it may be a bit naive in certain areas, and I understand that, but that's my story, and that's my realism, is that I'm going to always see the silver lining, or I'm going to always see the opportunity in something. That's different from somebody who had a whole different experience from me, and they look from a pessimistic, or they look from a negative, or they look from a victimization, or look from an apathy type of lens. So it's a hard question to answer, I think, because we're so different of creatures. Even those who call themselves of the same racial community, we're just so different, man. And so it's a hard question, and that's why civil rights is so difficult, because you had so many people that said, no, this is the way we do it. No, this is the way we do it. No, this is, it was just so different. And what happens to the person who's dark of color, but they don't have any ancestry in slavery? What has change look like for them? And so, I don't know. That's what I'm sticking to. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Am I willing to lose my job?
Huh?
Am I willing to lose my job for change? Yes, and have done it for conviction and for conscience.
Mm-hmm.
Am I willing to lose my life? That's a question I ask myself every day, especially having a son that's 18, and I can identify him with some of the young men who've lost their lives. And even the statistics say that 99% of the time, you won't die from policing. I still see the disproportionality and say,
right.
Out of that 1%, though, could that be my son?
Exactly.
And what would happen if that happens? Am I willing to give up my life for him? So we don't know, and it's tough. So people talk a lot of stuff, but when it comes down to it, that's when you're going to see it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, people do a lot of talking, but you ask yourself in a day, how far are you really willing to go?
Yeah.
And that's a question everybody got to ask themselves. And like you said, everybody is going to fight for what benefits them the most.
Right. So and so with that, I see a lot of people, they are they're taking pictures on social media in front of monuments, and these monuments have been marked up, they've been graffitied, and some of them have even been torn down. And I'm trying, when they take the picture and they got the Black Matters, like Black Lives Matter shirt on, or they got their fresh Juneteenth shirt on, which I love, and I'm appreciative, like you, True, that last year I was wondering, how the heck are we going to get this to our people? How are we going to let them know about this holiday? And this year it's like, oh my God, it's almost information overload. It's everywhere. And so it was just, in 365 days, it was such a change, and I'm excited. But I hope it's appropriate. I hope it's holistic, and I hope it's lasting. So I was wondering, what were people really thinking when they were standing in front of, in Richmond, the Robert E. Lee statue that's graffitied up now? What were they thinking? And what would they be thinking down the line about why they were standing there with their fists up, what that statue meant to them, and why they thought it was important to take a picture there? Hopefully, it was, historically, people that identified with this man and what he did during the Civil War was juxtaposition, or totally opposite from what my culture was living in that time, and thus he should not be celebrated. And also, he was an enemy of the state, having seceded in the United States of America. Hopefully, that's what their thought pattern is in that, and not just.
I see it on your face, True. I see it on your face.
No, because I was thinking, right? I'm thinking the same thing.
Instagram era, man. Like, sometimes you just don't know. Like, a lot of people doing things for photo ops. But what I hope is that, they might not get it now, but as they get older, a lot of these ones out here, they young kids. You know what I mean? 18 in college or whatever. So you might not get a whole full spectrum. Like, think about us at that age. So hopefully, by the time they get late 20s, early 30s stuff, it starts to register, and then they can take those photos and eventually show their kids, like, hey, this is what was happening. Like, that's the one thing about it. It's all documented now. Yeah. Like,
so I know Spence said it, and like, y'all know my thing. I guess my new thing is I'm patient, because I want to see right? Like, how long does this even carry out to the end of the year, right? And I'm planting a seed. So people listening, I am planting a seed. Like, so does this carry over to Kwanzaa?
Mm.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, because I thought it was interesting that adults were saying that they weren't aware of Tulsa, Oklahoma, you know,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, okay, they never even heard of, you know, Black Wall Street. So I kind of what you were saying, Black. I'm hoping like this was the wake up call, like to kind of spark some interest, and then individuals kind of figure out their lane, right? You
Or
know,
just do,
go ahead.
or just do research, man.
Yeah.
Like especially in this day and age when it's all right there in the palm of your hand. Like now is the time to say, you know, go do your own research on stuff and figure out things for yourself.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's out there. Like, did y'all hear the thing about them saying
Don't do it, Taylor.
Beethoven was black?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I saw that. And people going crazy.
Yeah. Like,
but I even told B that because she was like, "You heard that?" And I was like, "Well, he's probably the equivalent of Abraham Lincoln's black." And she was like, "What?" It's like, you didn't know that? I was like both his parents were white, and I don't know if you guys knew that, but like it doesn't matter if they don't identify with it. Like that was my question. It was like, does it matter? Because if they don't identify with it, like now I'm gonna, oh yeah, Abe Lincoln with us because he was black. Like what? Like no, miss me with that. So like I think some of that, like when I saw it again, I appreciate like people want to acknowledge stuff, but then it's like, what you say? Spence. Everybody that just your skin folks ain't your kin folks, right? So I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
And she was like, people excited. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And I get it. You know, the race thing is it's that sore that keeps festering back because that's what this country was built on. Was that, you know, that racial disparity, and the same things that people are complaining about people doing. The country's built off of looting. The country's built off of looting. The country.
Every museum. Every museum.
And so, you know, from a historian's perspective, you know, yes, I like that I can take a look at a statue or take a look at a piece of art or somebody else's perspective and kind of build the narratives from multiple perspectives. That's what historians do. And that's what they do research in. So, you know, the statue of Robert E. Lee, what does that mean for whoever built that statue and those people that love it? That's the historian part of me that is interested in that. From a historic, unchecked bias historian part of it. My legacy is, you know, I have a conflict with it because my ancestors suffered under that type of regime that was spread. And so I get that part. But taking down a Robert E. Lee statue is no different, or defacing Robert E. Lee is no different from the shooting off the nose of the Sphinx, or the tearing off the Negro nose of many of the art that's found all around the world, the covering up of pyramids all around the world that predates many of the pyramids that we see now, the looting of sarcophaguses and the looting of museums and the covering up. So this is nothing new. However, it's based upon your perspective of how you engage in this. And so I get it. If your system is built upon this and now this is starting to be torn down, I get it. But hey, too bad. Right. And I say too bad because my ancestors were tortured. I mean, like, they were tortured and they killed and they worked for free and they were lynched. And we have proof of this, you know? So it's not anything that's being made up. And it's not that you don't love people as human beings, but this is my perspective. It conflicts with your perspective. And this has happened all throughout the time. Empires came and empires left. Civilizations rose, civilizations were replaced. And so, I don't know what I'm sorry, but
fuck your couch, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Oh, edit that out.
Wait, question. So, Tally Chris, will Mount Rushmore be affected? And if so, how does that happen? We're talking about monuments, right?
Man, look, somebody said something. They talking about tearing that down, right?
Right. That's
Yeah,
so I'm asking Tally and Chris,
Wow.
what do y'all see Mount Rushmore being infected? And if so, like, cause that's gonna take a little more than somebody going over and trying to tear it down, right? Like, you gotta have a laser. Like, what was that? The movie, Rich Kid or something like that.
Richie Rich.
Yeah, Richie Rich, right?
Richie
Like,
Rich, oh Lord.
so I'm saying, what you got, Chris? Tally?
Yeah, okay, go ahead, big
Now,
bro.
get in, Tally. You get in, Tally.
Man, hey, look,
Because I
I'm
see.
I'm on some whole different level because when y'all talking about numbers, you talking about the Juneteenth and its observance.
Uh-huh.
Don't you all know that in us paying attention to it, don't y'all know how many shootings and killings went on within our Black community? In Charlotte alone, I was there in Charlotte. It called itself celebrating Juneteenth.
Mm.
We had 12 shot, 5 died. We had a car show that was like part of the observance of Juneteenth, or just that whole celebration weekend. And somebody decided to come shoot in the crowd. In Georgia, I think they had, no, South Carolina, South Carolina, they had another 12 shootings. 4 died.
Mm.
Supposed to be a celebration of Juneteenth. In Chicago, during the celebration, you had about 50, injured, and they had a little child that died, a 4-year-old that died from a celebration of, and they call it Juneteenth. And then the various other states, they had something else, a couple of other things. I was looking on Facebook. I know y'all probably see me looking at my phone, but they had all the different numbers. And this was like the most shootings that they had in such a long time over this weekend. Now, the thing about what happened in Charlotte, and I can only speak for Charlotte because I was there, they didn't have any suspects of people who did the shooting. And so some people can say, oh, somebody plotted it, because it was Juneteenth. They want to make it seem like, okay, this is a negative thing and all that stuff to kind of get us away from the observance and the celebration of Juneteenth. But man, I'm just really, tearing down statues, all this stuff we're doing, changing the name of Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben's and stuff. I don't know, y'all. I'm just kind of feeling some kind of way about all that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? It's bringing us awareness, but man, it's just something that's in my spirit right now that's not really setting well. Like, some people are opportunists to this situation. Mm-hmm. They're feeling it. They're not really feeling the real issue and the change that need to go on, because we got a lot of ignorant. If y'all watch Chris Rock, man, y'all gotta watch this stuff between blacks and niggas, man. We got a lot of ignorance that's going on, man.
Yeah, we do.
Bad for us, man. Yeah. I'm telling you. In that Bill Cosby shit that was on, Bill Cosby, everybody got mad at Bill Cosby. But all this stuff starts from home, man. I'm just saying, this stuff is crazy, dog. This is some crazy stuff, man. So my feelings are all over the place about this stuff. And, Candace Owens is not, y'all making her, we're making her look good as hell.
We are. Oh, my bad.
We have the people making her look good as hell with all this shit that's going on. And Killer Mike. If y'all seen Killer Mike, Killer Mike, we talking some real stuff. But we're not making ourselves look good right now with Black Lives Matter stuff, man. We're doing this to ourselves. That's all I got to say. And like I said, I'll jump in on somebody later.
Well,
I'm gonna wait for Chris to go, because I definitely
want to
go.
I want to say what the police say though. It's just a few bad apples. You can't. Is that what the police say? There's a few bad apples.
I'm thinking the shit that we've been going through what Floyd went through, that's the few bad apples. The majority of the stuff is us doing us like that.
Exactly. I mean that.
Because of the niggas and the ignorance that we have.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm waiting for Chris to get
I mean, listen. I mean, you guys
Shit
basically
starts at home, man. Y'all know it's a whole bunch of ignorant ass
people
that we teach and deal with every day. That we always say you're gonna have I always tell them you're gonna have a short life by the end of before you get 18 because you're so ignorant and you don't have respect. You don't have no damn home training.
No respect for your elders.
And we're supposed to raise them. We're supposed to raise them. You know what I'm saying? The parents send their kids. And we gotta raise them. We don't get paid enough to raise them, man. That's the way I feel. They start at home. I'm gonna be quiet for a minute and put my drink.
No, you don't need no. You don't need more drink.
You don't need nothing else to drink, dog. Please.
I mean that though.
We know.
I mean that. I
want to go ahead, Chris.
No, everything has basically been said, man. You guys have said everything. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, Juneteenth. Okay, True. You talked about it, and Spence, you talked about it also. I mean, this is something. This year has been the year that it's been basically exposed. I mean, we know now what it's about. I mean, it's something that took place, and now it's grown so big because of everything that's going on out here in our society. But here again, it's unfortunate that we have knuckleheads. I don't care who they are, black, white, whoever, that's out here that's messing it up for us in a sense. I mean, you really don't know. I mean, the narrative, of course, if we're listening to the media. I mean, do we really know who's out here doing what they're doing? Do we really honestly truly know? If we're going to listen to the media, we don't know. We sit back and do a lot of assumptions, but it's unfortunate, as Big Unc was just sitting there saying, how on this particular special day celebration, that in so many states, different states, we have all these killings. We got all this crap going on. How in the world can that be a celebration if we're seeing all that? There's no way in the world it can be a celebration. But getting back to your point, Will Black, because I think the very first question that you had asked about Juneteenth was like, what did we do as far as individuals and our families? I was home. With my lovely wife and my kids, cooking out, singing some songs, doing some dancing, and just, understanding what it's all about. But listen, you guys, you've hit it all. You basically hit every angle, but it's unfortunate. But I guess the real question again is, from this year forth going into next year, is this going to be a big thing that we're all talking about, or is it going to just kind of like die down because, everything is kind of like, the year of 2020 is left and gone. Now we're in 2021, we're back to the norm.
But I would love to see, hold on real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would love to see the numbers, because, they always report the numbers, but I would love to see the numbers.
Thank you. That's what
white people that kill white people on 4th of July.
I was
Memorial
just about
Day,
to say it.
Or whatever. Like, yeah, like, it looks bad because that's what they're reporting. Like, okay. But that day ain't no different than a regular day in Chicago in the hood. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, like, we got things that in there that's been put in place for these people to react this way. It's survival for them. You know what I mean? Now, is it right or wrong? No. Whatever, you know what I mean? But that's survival for them. So I can't look so much as far as say, oh, you had this happen. Like, this is another day in the hood.
What do you mean about this is another day when you say survival? What I don't understand.
Bruh, if you take
the weekend of observance.
You take
survival.
Why are we talking about observance? Like, you have people get killed on Martin Luther King. You have people get killed on Martin Luther King's birthday. You have people get killed on 4th of July. You have people get killed New Year's. You have people get killed.
But
Christmas.
They were celebrating Juneteenth, though. I know it's just a day, but they were celebrating and observing Juneteenth. I'm not saying it couldn't have happened on a Tuesday or a Wednesday of a regular day, but these are events. When I gave you those dates, these were events that were in a
Right. So we talk about the one in Charlotte, right? The one
But
that
that's
happened in
like a
Charlotte.
regular day for some of those people, right?
Right. But you
no,
but,
they was at an event. They
but
was at
hold
a
on, the
toy
one in
show.
Charlotte, right? The one in Charlotte, right? You
Yes.
said they don't have no suspects or nothing, right? Did anybody see who shot?
Well, you know that goes to other codes.
Right, but we assuming it's black. Why are you assuming it's black folk that shot up in the place?
Okay. I see what you're getting at.
No, I'm just
How
saying.
it's
You
not
just
black
said
folks, it's
there's
random
no
black folks.
suspect.
All
Nobody
those
saw.
shootings. I mean, you know, when you think about that area, Batisford Road, which is on the west side, you know what I'm saying? I think it was some other beef that happened prior to, because of that's just how we do. That's how our minds think. We're opportunists. If something is going on, we're gonna look to go there and just start shooting up.
You say we. Who you mean we?
Now, we us black folks, niggas. I'm sorry.
Ooh, we okay.
I'm sorry, man. Y'all talking about too many different events to where you say we're gonna put white folks in each one of these events that's going on in observance of Juneteenth.
Hey, didn't
And
country
say we're
concert
gonna
get shot
shoot up, and we're gonna say because they didn't see us, we're gonna say it's possibility it could be some white folks. Come on, man.
Didn't
ain't that crazy.
country concert get shot up in Las Vegas? Didn't what was that one that fair in what was it, Florida or whatever it was, where the boy went shot up at the fair? White boy shot on white people? Like they do it on mass, they do it at mass things at white events all the time. You can't just put that on like, oh, because we celebrating this. This stuff happens with all races all the time.
But what are we talking about? Are we talking about Juneteenth or are we talking about other events? I thought we was talking about Juneteenth. So why?
But you expect everything to change in one day?
Huh?
You expect everything to change in one day?
I didn't
1
say
year?
that. I was just saying that the stats went out, the factual stats.
Why? Yeah, them stats show you went out.
For this year. We're
They're gonna make sure them stats. They're gonna make sure them stats get out.
Year, we're talking about numbers for this year that happened for this.
Why we don't never get numbers for 4th of July stuff?
We always get numbers. That's supposed to be the.
We always get the black numbers. Why we always get the black numbers? Why we don't get the white shootings that happen? You saying they don't happen?
Yes.
So why we don't get them?
Shootings that happen is a white person doing it. When they go into the schools, you take back up to Colorado. You know what I'm saying? That's white folks. I ain't saying it doesn't. But we're talking about Juneteenth right now. So why are you going abroad when we're talking about a specific holiday that we recently celebrated in observance of Juneteenth?
I'm just comparing to other holidays. That's all.
Let me ask a question. So because I think what I'm hearing is it sounds like, Tally, the events that happened on that day, you are associating it with the event, but I think within your statement you were saying you feel like it was a retaliation or something that may have happened prior to. So
no, that's not what I'm saying.
So
that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so are you saying that?
Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm asking the question. So are you saying that since it was Juneteenth, they strategically planned and said, you know what, it's going to be Juneteenth, and I'm going to go find this person on this day because I know they're going to be.
I don't think that's what you're saying.
I'm not saying that as a possibility. That's a possibility of the motive of whoever did the shooting. All I'm saying is how those shootings and all those shootings in different cities put a damper on the celebration of Juneteenth when we supposed to have been observing something where you all said the numbers went up because people were recognizing it as, you know, now because of what we're going through, Black Lives Matter, now the numbers of Juneteenth and its observance went up. All I'm saying is potentially opportunists of these different events in different cities start shooting up. I don't know what the reason why they went to go shoot up. They could have had a beef with somebody who they knew was going to be at the card show. I don't know what went on in South Carolina. I don't know what went on in Chicago and in Georgia. Yes, they have shootings all the time where anybody gets shot up at. But these events were actually celebrations of a Juneteenth event where the shootings happened.
So we should have been acting better on that day, is what you're saying, right?
Right, because that's
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
We should have been acting better, and I totally agree. I think things that we are honoring, we should have better and greater decorum for those things because they represent us.
But I don't know if those people were honoring it, right?
But I understand what you're saying also, Black, is that the media projects that this is happening and it only happens in this space without having the equal conversation to balance it out that it happens other places also. So when people say, well, what about Black on Black crime? Because we go there as a part of our, we go there often as a part of our institutionalism in this country when we talk about crime. What about Black on Black crime? When there's never a conversation about white on white crime.
Right.
And so I think that's what they were saying, that we recognize that you feel this way, but then we also got to check that sometimes that's brought up in order to keep us in a victimization standpoint. I think that's what you all are trying, that's what the road meets what you're trying to say. Now, the question I'm saying is that I understand that some of the kids and some of the people just can't handle new stuff. You remember your mama used to say, well, you can't handle no new stuff. You know, as soon as you get some new stuff, you go crazy, right? Or as soon as you get in front of some strangers, you're going to act up, right? And I think that's part of our, when I say our, I mean the people who were disenfranchised as a result of transatlantic slavery. Those people and their legacies have been so traumatically affected that, yes, we have trouble and we're still working through what it means to celebrate and what it means to advance and work together. That's some people. That's not all people. That's some people. The question is, what do we do from this point on? You know, what do we do when we get to, how do we get to Kwanzaa? Are we waiting for somebody to come up with a Kwanzaa plan? And I don't think we always have to look at it. I don't think we all have to look at the numbers. I think we measure success by a lot of people doing something. And that's just not my measurement of success.
Right.
You know, I work in a field where if you can change one person and get them progressing just a little bit, that's successful. So I don't need 1 million people to now understand what Kwanzaa is. What I need to do is the 6 people on this platform here to come up with a plan to celebrate Kwanzaa as we know it, and we invite just one more person in there. And that means 12 more people now. So that's success to me. And I think we're always looking for one savior, and I think we're always looking to measure success in a multitude. And then when we do that, we always want to trip ourselves up, but we're never going to see the numbers accurately.
So, with that, talking about change. No, we talking about change. How many people are changing their mind about going to participate in the NBA for the restart?
Wow, that's a good.
I'm just saying, because you said it's some new stuff. People don't know how to act with this new stuff now. Because
I like that, True. I like how you did that, True.
Yeah,
it depends on if your team is in the hunt for the championship. That's what it depends. Don't let these people fool you about Black Lives Matter and health and wellness. If you are in the hunt,
see,
you're gonna be in the place.
So that new stuff. So you saying this stuff that's new to these owners now?
Everybody now.
Bradley not going.
Bradley not going.
Y'all say y'all don't need him though.
Dwight Howard said he don't want to go.
Booty man not playing, man.
You call that man?
Booty man.
Oh, that's Booty man, man.
Why you call him Booty man?
I don't know why you call him Booty man, man.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why you call him Booty man.
The reason why he ain't play all last year.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
What?
Oh, you really don't know that? You really don't know
I
that?
don't know.
No, the reason why
we not
played
gonna
the
get
Wizards.
it. Just Google it. Google it.
Hold on,
Wait, I thought you was a Wizards fan.
Y'all don't know about that?
You're a Wizards fan. You should have known that, right?
Y'all didn't know he decided to come to DC before he started all that mess?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Y'all don't know about that for real?
You know why his back and his booty was hurting?
Look at his haircut.
Yeah.
What?
Read between the lines, brother. There's receipts on
I
Black
ain't trying to get
Reed.
between those lines.
Hey,
He like them he sheets.
hey,
Hold on. Is that politically incorrect right there?
these days,
I think it is.
blackball. I'm just gonna say the views expressed on here. I love my LGBTQ family and friends.
Hey, Tally mad about that joke. He ain't even laughing.
Go ahead.
Send all your mail to @WillieBlack.
Y'all send them anyway. I don't care. I said what I said.
Dang.
Yeah, but yeah, your man's ain't playing. You think the Lakers going all the way? You already done wrapped it up. You done wrapped it up.
Oh Lord.
You said it
So
too.
you say
Didn't you say it?
The Lakers?
Didn't you say that last week?
Hey, the bookies got.
Me?
Check my
Oh
receipt.
no, I'm
Yeah, check
talking-
that. I
Check
didn't say.
that
I
receipt, Spence. Check the
Hey, you
receipt.
remember-
Go ahead, Tally.
No, I'm thinking
I
about
said
baseball.
Take the
if.
receipts. Take the receipt.
And you
I said if.
If what?
Because they want him to get it.
I'm saying no.
That's the only reason why we come back.
I'm saying no. I'm saying Black. Don't cave in, Black. You know, give him what they're not
Black
gonna do.
cave in.
Nah,
Don't
go.
give
that's
in, man. Don't give
that's
in.
the only
Hey,
way.
based on Tally standards, then if they don't have Dwight, y'all ain't gonna get it either. Remember, he said Dwight one of y'all key role players.
You did say that.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
hey,
you
look,
He
did.
said
hey,
right,
look.
but who
You
else
said
did he
JaVale,
say?
you said JaVale.
He said Dwight and JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
He's a
But
pro player.
now he threw out the Morris
They-
joint
okay,
now.
okay.
He found the Morris
Y'all got
joint.
to. That's gonna be a heck of a triangle.
Real,
That's gonna be a heck of a triangle.
Who got a
There's a
ring?
lot of people that got rings.
Who got a ring?
They'll got the
Yeah,
ring.
you do.
Okay,
real basketball
I
players.
didn't say you can't jump.
Everybody got to play their roles.
that's right.
So all Dwight is a role. He's a strong part of a role, and it's
Yeah.
big man status.
Yeah.
Big man.
Yeah.
Pause.
Dwight gave us about 4 blocks. He gave about 8 rebounds, and he gave us about 4 or 5 points. That's all we need from him.
That's all you need.
Because you know
And
this
that's a key role.
game anymore. This is not a big man's game anymore.
Yeah. It's not.
But when it
So
turned
wait,
into it,
so wait, how you gonna say they go?
It's a big
How
man's
you
game.
gonna
Yeah.
say?
Big-
Wait, if it's not a big man's game, and you said these are 2 key components of your bench, like you already said that they're irrelevant because it's not even their game.
okay, no, that just showed the depth of the team. Come on, you talking to a basketball guru? Okay,
I hear you, Tyler.
All right, he the savant now.
That just added more ammunition to our bench when we had Dwight Howard or we had a Bradley. You know what I'm saying?
We put Bradley in it now.
Really, all it takes is about 6 to win.
Yeah, Bradley's not there no
It takes
longer.
about 6 to win. The great college team take about 6 to win. 6 good players.
You can't say college. We're talking about
Pros.
pros. College, all you need is 3 good players.
Right. So in pros, you need about 6. You need about.
So how many the Clippers got?
And somebody come off the bench.
Clippers.
How many the Clippers got?
I mean the Lakers. I said,
At least 8.
Come on, man. Come on.
At
Man.
least
8. We have 8. I'm just giving you the numbers.
Name them.
You can't even name them.
Name them right
Come
now.
on, Tal.
Matter of fact, just pull it up on your phone. Don't try to go off the top of the dome. Pull it up on the phone. When you scroll,
You go back
like
LeBron,
yes.
Anthony Davis, LeBron.
You got your boy calling the bench, one of the twins. We got the one of the twins.
Y'all got the wrong twin.
Man, you got the wrong twin, bro.
The better one play for the Clippers.
And we got Kubat. I mean, we got
y'all got who?
Who's the starting 5?
Dude.
You said Zubac. Didn't y'all trade him to the
Yes,
Clippers?
he got traded last year. Like, who's the starting 5?
Look at it.
Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma.
All right, y'all got Kuz.
Okay, that's 3.
It's not enough. It's not enough, Tally. It's not enough.
That's 3, but Kuz ain't no all-star or superstar.
Oh, he's an up-and-coming player.
Yeah, he's Brandon Ingram.
Y'all acting like he's not an up-and-coming player.
Stop. No, he's not.
Brandon Ingram.
No, he's not. Good try.
I didn't say he was as good as Brandon Ingram.
Okay, I know what Black trying to do though. Keep watching the film, baby.
But now,
My man
the
can
question, should they come back and play?
Who? The NBA.
He said the
NBA?
Lakers, pretty much the
Right.
Lakers. 'Cause that's why
Right.
that's why we here. That's why we here.
You already
Yeah,
know
if it's their bread and butter, is that how they making money? Now remember, we're not talking about the elite players. We're not talking about the mediocre players. We're talking about the brothers that are at the end of the bench. I mean, these brothers that really need their paycheck to make ends meet, because everyone ain't making what LeBron and all of them are making.
Are they essential people? Are they essential people?
The essential
Okay,
workers,
essential
right? Hey, I like that.
Who defines what essential is?
Thank you.
Tell
And
me,
especially
man.
when you start talking
Is
about
basketball essential?
Come on,
To the
Chris.
way
Just
of
say it.
life. To the
Just
way
say
of
it.
life.
It's
To the
not.
way of life.
to the way of life. Yeah, I guess it is.
He gonna die on that sword. I like that. I like that energy.
You're like,
I like that energy. I like that. I like that.
It's essential to the American way of life.
Is it?
Yeah,
How
Yeah.
so?
because
True Blood ain't watch football. I would say True
I-
Blood ain't watch football in about 4 years?
He gonna say I'm
yeah,
not American.
I think
That's the American that you get. That's the American that you
That's
get.
what I
They
was
don't
about to
play
say.
it.
I thought football was the
They
American
don't play
sport,
that
not
nowhere else.
basketball.
They don't play that
Nah, it's
nowhere else
baseball.
besides
It's baseball.
No,
Baseball.
it used to be baseball.
That's what the
Oh,
white
it still
folks
is
want to tell you.
baseball.
It is
It
baseball.
is baseball. The American sport.
So-
Please.
I watched
Yes.
When
watched
people
Gladiator.
when people think
As I
about
wear a
America,
Yankee
do
hat,
they think
what I'm
about
saying.
football or
But it's
baseball?
football, bro.
America. Which America are we referring to?
Oh, so if we do Central or
So
South
black.
America,
So let's go. So black
I mean,
people.
you know,
What did they think about first? Football, or baseball?
FUTBOL.
We
Real
can't even get
football.
Americans to play baseball, professional baseball, no more. Yeah, I go over to Dominican and Japan and all that.
Yo, Spence, what you was about to say though?
Yeah, but go ahead, Smith. My bad.
No, I was saying that I watched Gladiator the other day, and they said something in Gladiator was that
Like
Yo,
the
where you
real
find
Gladiator?
Gladiator
Right, I
at?
was about to say what? I will watch
You
that.
talking about American
The
Gladiator?
throwback American guy like
no.
Oh,
Russell
the
Crowe.
movie.
Oh,
Russell Crowe
Oh,
was
okay.
Gladiator. Yeah, it was talking about
And
how
you know somebody actually died in that movie?
really.
In the chariot? Yeah, the chariot. My bad. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead, bro.
No, I
irrelevant.
didn't know that. I got to go
Yeah.
research that now. But he said something. The senators was talking about how I guess the new emperor was bringing the gladiator games in order to keep the masses distracted, so he could move his mission, which was counterproductive to what they really needed. And so when you talk about, when you ask the question in sports essential, I think it's essential to the American way of life because it allows us to be distracted on something while we're really not focusing on what our needs and necessities are. And so yeah, I think it's a necessity. That's why you see such a fervent energy about getting sports back on the TV. And that's the newsreel ahead of so many other things that I think are much more of a necessity to talk about. So keep the sheep distracted, and the shepherd can lead them anywhere he wants.
so are you saying that LeBron is the leader of this?
No,
Because if he say
That's-
we ain't playing, I ain't playing, they ain't playing.
why is that?
Because he's the leader of the pack, right?
Good
Why
try,
is that?
Spence. Good try, Spence.
Why is
What do you mean?
that?
Why is that? I just told you why that is.
He's your fearless leader. He's the
He's the
leader.
man. He's the man.
So
and that's where the disconnect
And
with
then
Kyrie
everyone's
is
gonna follow
coming.
the leader.
So how was he able to command that much power? That's my question.
Hey, man.
I already know what he's trying to do.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, answer the question, Spence.
You want me to answer it? I'm gonna answer it then. I ain't gonna give you what you want to hear
Because
he's a GM or he's an associate GM.
Keep going.
And
Keep going.
he has influence on other guys.
And he's gonna win 30% of the finals. That's all.
And he's so he's
He's gonna win 30% of his finals. He's gonna be in the finals.
so you say
he's only gonna win probably about 20.
He's very marketable. He's very marketable.
He'll win about 20% of his finals.
Very marketable.
savvy,
He's what?
right?
No, we gonna be real. The reason why he can do that because they put him on the platform, right? We know that. So they gave him the platform, and fortunately for him, and this is the part that I do commend him on it. He said, "Oh, y'all gonna give me all this clout," and he took it and ran with it. So now, you know, they've given him so much
So Spence, you don't think he earned that clout?
What do you mean?
Well, True Blood saying they gave him all that clout.
Well,
Yeah. No, I
totally.
totally disagree with True Blood. I think he had a skill set. He saw an opportunity. He used his skill set for those opportunities, and he's never looked back. That's the American dream. That's what we want. We want to use what we're gifted in order to affect the masses.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
But
they
he
had
was
to
also
they had to expose him, right? Like because
I got to show you all the LeBron James traveling clips that they just blatantly just come on, man.
Yeah.
We talking about traveling now?
He
How
beat
we
the
go
Wizards.
from-
Nah,
how we go
because
how we
they
go
make
from
sure
man-
they make
How
sure
you go from
anointed
associate
one.
GM to traveling?
He was the anointed one. He was the anointed
What?
one, man. He's the anointed one. That's all.
He's anointed because he can jump out the gym at the age of 16.
So black people got to jump out the gym for you to be the anointed one. I got
Yeah, that's fine.
to jump out the gym. Just be
Wait,
strong as damn.
And I was about to say I don't think he was jumping out of the gym compared to other guys, but like yes. Man. Yes, I'm gonna put that on there too. Yes. So so thank you, because I was about to say. So
please talking about who you think you're talking about.
You already knew what I was going with this, because he's not jumping no 47, 48-inch vert.
He's not jumping 47, 48-inch verticals.
No.
What is he jumping?
In his combine, I think they had him at a 40, which is good, right? That ain't little, but there's tons of. Say it again.
Have you seen his head and his shoulder rise above the rim?
Yeah, he's 6'8" though.
I see him taking 5 steps to the basket all the time.
I
see that.
He's taking 280 pounds and
280 steps. That's what he's taking.
But listen, he be carrying that way. So are you telling me that he got more hops than Dominique Wilkins or Spud Webb? Okay then. So that's what I'm saying. Like them guys are jumping out the gym.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So let's get we're getting.
Yeah, I'm trying to let Tally know that I'm a savant to this too.
And then we What you say?
I'm trying to wake Tally up over there because he over there dozing off. He's probably watching one of them. He watching reruns. He watching reruns of
Wilding Out. So that's my shit.
So that's what I'm saying. Shoot.
What I'm saying is that in 20 years, when I look for your vote for office or the president, I don't want you to say that the system gave me a platform or propped me up. I want you to say that hopefully I had some skills that people believed in and I was able to move people.
Why can't two things be true though? Why can't two things be true?
What you say?
Yeah.
Why can't two things be true?
I didn't say that.
Well, because that's what I was about to ask Blackwell. Because I was about to say, because you have to have both of them to make it work, right?
You gotta have somebody give you the opportunity.
Like LeBron's definitely got to have the talent, which he does.
Right.
But then he also has to have the support, right, from the media. Like if they don't portray him to being this, then he's not that. Like perfect example, right? And I'm gonna sneak one of my other guys in it, right? So Kawhi, right? Because you already know it, because Kawhi can do it.
Only a matter of time.
But
do what?
Everything and more of what LeBron does
on the court.
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking basketball.
No, we're not talking basketball.
No.
Y'all brought up the GM.
Yes, we did.
You brought up GM.
Yeah,
that's not basketball.
Huh? He's a GM for basketball.
He brought Paul. Hold on.
That is basketball.
And he brought Paul
George.
Deflecting, fishing. Hey man, go ahead. What you about to say?
But Kawhi might be better because you saw how he finessed his way into to the Clippers. Got him to get Paul George there and everything.
And then now that move with Paul
George, nobody saw that coming.
That I don't even know how.
Nobody saw that coming.
How they even.
Well, see, you always understand the NBA.
Paul George had just signed he had 3 more years, and it was like, all right, yeah, you can go. Like what?
If y'all understand, LeBron started all that BS with linking up these teams, and the National Basketball League Players Association gave them more flexibility to maneuver how they wanted to, because that BS that happened with Golden State was the dumbest. That's even worse than when LeBron hooked up
What's that? Wait a minute.
Chris Bosh and
We're not about to have this
Whoa,
lie here.
whoa.
Get out.
Huh? Oh,
You can go back to your
Come on,
wilding
man.
out because you wilding
No.
out.
Yeah,
Bruh,
you wildin'.
Listen, I
No.
had this
Wildin',
conversation
man.
with y'all
Oh,
millions
my
of times.
God.
So you telling me right now, if you working for, let's say you working for Apple and IBM is there, or no, let's not even do that. We're gonna say you working for Google, but Amazon offer you, right? And they giving you max or whatever. So you making more and
You're not making more. Hold on.
yeah, no.
He took a pay cut to go to the Warriors, man.
Yeah,
He
but
took a-
what they was gonna offer him was about the same. Yes,
No,
if you looked at that contract,
no. He would
yes,
have got
it
way.
was.
He would have got way more money if he stayed at OKC.
No, it wasn't. That's
That's how the CBA is set up.
even if that's the case, then maybe I'm off, even if I'm off on that. So you telling me then? So let's say this. So you working for Giant, and then
Man, let's
you get an
stop all this
offer
scenario.
to work
That
for
man made a
Amazon.
weak-
You
he
tell
made
me
a
you're not
weak
going to
move.
All I'm
Amazon?
saying
He made
is,
a-
I
he
mean,
made a
he's
weak
like the only
move.
one that made a weak move, but he didn't
He made a
start
weak
it though.
move. Huh?
It wasn't no weak move.
How
That
was it a
was
weak
a
move when he got
move.
assists?
LeBron
He
made
got
a weak
assists.
move.
He
Hold on.
got assists.
LeBron made a weak move. KD made a
LeBron,
weak
and thank
move.
you. LeBron's
That's why
BS.
MJ's the GOAT, because he ain't never make no weak moves like
But
that.
did
You know
LeBron
what I'm
actually? But did LeBron actually start that?
No. I mean, 'cause
He
technically
made
you
it
can say
popular.
Boston. You can
He
say
made it
Yeah, he
Boston.
made it popular.
Yeah.
That kind of.
How
say
about
Boston
the
did it.
Celtics? Boston,
I
yeah, the
don't know, man.
Celtics. The
Well,
Celtics
not
started
really.
that.
Let's talk about your Lakers when they brought in Gary Payton and that
So-
year
that-
Karl Malone and all them.
that's
Well,
different
he
though.
started.
They got two
They
guys at the end of their year. Like
Yeah,
they
they ended their road.
They still went to the
hunting.
finals. They still went to the
They
finals.
try to stack the deck though, True. They try to
Man, that
stack the
don't
deck.
count.
And they
No,
still
they just
ran
ain't
their way through the
roll,
It don't
man.
finals.
count because it
Listen,
failed. It don't count because it failed.
No, it don't count because
It
they
don't
was
count because
old
it
as
failed.
dirt. Like
It don't count because it failed.
No.
If it was successful, it would have counted.
Right.
Listen. All right.
Y'all would have
Now,
counted that banner
if,
just the
if,
same.
if,
Yes.
if the league wasn't hating and Chris Paul came, it's different. Come on now, y'all. Oh, y'all quiet now.
Tell y'all.
I agree.
You
I agree.
know what? So like
There's no
then,
proof in
yeah,
that.
you may have an argument. But you already had guys at the end of their careers, and it's like, shoot, let me try to go on.
Didn't Gary Payton play another like 4 years after that and won a ring? Didn't Karl Malone play another like 3 4 years after that?
Karl
They
Malone
both
didn't.
retired after that. That was their
No,
last year.
Gary Payton went and got a ring in Miami.
Gary Payton did, but Karl Malone
Where did Gary Payton go? Don't nobody
To
know.
Miami. Yes, he do, because he went there
and
and got
won
a ring
with
with Diesel.
With LeBron.
With Diesel.
So that White
So
Sox.
again, so what contributing factor did he make there?
Nothing.
He was right. You were just on there looking for it. You were like, shoot, somebody gonna give me a chance to get this ring.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, he at the end of his career. You talking about dude in his prime?
That was the same thing.
No, who had a dude who had the team down
Get out.
3-1.
Get out.
And they couldn't seal deal. He wouldn't join. That's weak. That's weak.
They didn't call it super team till LeBron got associated.
That's it.
Knew he was trying to do that jab in there.
Hey. So hey, if that's the case though, I give LeBron that. But who made it look like darn near impossible?
KD.
He did.
KD
did.
To do what?
Was he
To dominate the
super
league.
right? Was he created the super team that you're talking about? So I give him the credit for that. But then who mastered it and made it seem darn near impossible? Like you had people talking about something. I'm not even watching no more because you already know who's gonna win.
Exactly. Everybody was talking about it before the season even started.
And LeBron was still playing.
So
LeBron was still playing.
Was I wrong? Was I wrong?
You're right. You're right.
Come on, right?
So, but that's all I'm saying.
Was OKC a super team when they had KD, Harden, and
No, they were puppies. They were puppies.
No, but we already know that.
I see where you're trying to go with it.
He's trying to. But
it's nothing different.
And there's a difference because they all were recruited.
Hey,
they drafted all of them.
LeBron lost to Dirk Nowitzki in the
He
pitch,
could have did it like Jordan, right?
Right.
The greatest player ever.
Who?
He could have did it like Jordan, the greatest player ever, and then make a championship team.
Who's that?
You got 3. KD.
KD couldn't control that. The front office let James Harden go. That was a dumb decision on them.
Exactly. He rolled out.
I understand this, y'all. NBA has changed in management.
Good try, though. Good try, Spence. Go back and try to think of something else.
The players have changed. They got more negotiating
That's right.
muscle and all that stuff. So
That's right.
you talking about Jordan, how he formed this team.
That's right.
Pippen, an all-star, could Pippen had gone anywhere and been great? I think prime.
Don't ask Blackwell.
Considered, you know, they had a good.
Hey, I think we all came to conclusion on that.
No,
man.
only you.
No, it wasn't just me.
I'm not
It wasn't
watching
just
one
me.
documentary
It wasn't
mind about what he
just me.
did.
We named a whole bunch of players that we would took before Scottie Pippen. Not just
we did that. We did that.
We didn't. No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
The question
We got
was
to at least 15. We got to at least 15.
No, the question was he a top 15 that ever played in the league for that position?
Right.
We didn't say that for that team. Would you have taken somebody else?
Right.
No. So
That's
you're
correct.
saying two totally different things.
That's
with
right.
that team with Jordan, Pippen stays. I don't care what nobody else says.
Right.
Oh, to play that role, yeah, but come on, man. We talking like,
But
we saying two different things right now. For that team, he fit with that team. What we talking about as the player, like.
But that's the whole conversation. Is that the attributes change so much? It's fun to debate, but you really can't debate because, like Tally said, business change. Like I say, physicality.
Would have the 96 or 90, even let's take the 98 Bulls team, where they lost to that Dallas Mavericks team. Where they lost to that Dallas Mavericks team?
No. I'm gonna say it.
You talking about that beat LeBron?
Yeah, but they lost to that team.
Oh no.
So we can compare. We would not have lost to that team.
They're not losing to that team, Spence. I'm sorry.
You know that.
So
Spence, you was surprised that Dirk did that by himself.
Exactly.
Who he had?
It was just Dirk.
Sean Marion, old Sean Marion, old. Dirk was old. Dirk was old then.
But they couldn't stop that fadeaway. That kick.
A dog gets a bone. He couldn't stop it. You're right. He couldn't stop it.
They couldn't stop that. And
that's part of it. You know, that's part of it. You know, you win some, you lose some. Dirk was killing him.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I'm not gonna compare that, but yeah, I agree that the Bulls wouldn't have lost that, but I don't know, bro. I just feel like that's crazy. You watched that documentary and then all of a sudden Pippen went from being great to he a scrub. I'm like, yo,
he was a scrub.
Scrub.
Y'all put words in my mouth, man. I never said about being a scrub. I didn't say nothing about him being a scrub.
You said he was a role player. That was your exact
right. He's a glorified role player, bro.
Glorified.
Pippen is just a role player. I'm just trying to say that.
What's wrong with being a role player?
Wow.
He was Jordan's sidekick.
We sat here and named at least 15 small forwards that we said would go down history better than him.
But to my argument, what I said also to that was that you named a bunch of guys that had their own teams, right? Of course, their numbers gonna look better if you're the headliner, right?
So Pippen had his own team for a year, right?
1 year.
We saw it don't matter. He had his team for a whole year.
You're trying to compare him to other guys that had teams for 7 or 8 years.
And here's even best. It's not like he had his own team for a year when he was a young player coming up. He was already a seasoned vet who won chips and all this stuff. We saw what happened when he had a team for the whole year. We saw what happened crunch time.
You know when
he turned into LeBron at some point in that.
We're not going.
You know what I'm saying? LeBron on the bench crying. Dirk Nowitzki whipping my ass. You know what I'm saying? Let me go on this bench.
I'm not going to.
Devontae West sleeping with my mama. Let me get on this bench. Go ahead,
well, y'all know how to tear a man down when he the greatest, aren't you?
The greatest.
That ain't even saying that.
The greatest off the court. The greatest off the court. You're right, Spence.
No, they say they talk about crabs in the bucket, but the crabs weren't meant to be in the bucket in the first place, brother. That's all I'm saying. So who put the damn crabs in the bucket?
You did. Who put the crabs in the bucket? Talking about that man mama.
It's like the tea.
That's insensitive of you.
That's like teacock calling the kettle nigga. You know what I'm saying?
That's insensitive of you.
That's insensitive.
Talking about that man mama.
His mama did it. Ain't got nothing to do with it. His mama did it. He mad at anybody. He mad at your damn mama. Shouldn't be out there. Got that man hooked
don't say crack. That. I was about to say, don't say nothing about his mama, bro.
Got that man hooked on crack, man.
Well, Spence, you did for my can't you?
You say?
Up with mine, can't you? Then you see him around the way.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Got that man hooked on.
You get straight. You can help the
Yeah,
brother
strung
out.
out, man. Come
Right.
on, bro. I don't want that kitty. No. That's what it do.
That happened way before her.
Nah, because that's when it all went downhill
That
after her.
kid get right.
It went downhill after her.
Oh,
Nah,
man.
he got in trouble in college. He was in trouble in college.
Oh yeah, I mean shit. PG County, bro.
Y'all can try to put it all on that. You can try to put it all on
Don't
that
throw it
woman.
on PG County, bro. No, don't
Yeah,
do that.
Nah, he was straight.
Come on.
When he was in PG County, he was straight. He was good.
Right.
Was he?
Right. Don't do that, Black. Hey,
My man was straight. I know that the high school he went to, he was good.
right. We ain't gonna talk about all these other counties that got all this other stuff going on in this state now. But
Nah, exactly.
yeah,
They don't.
yeah.
That same comment you said to Tally applies for your rules
Right.
county also.
Yes.
We know what's happening there that's not getting hit on the news because we the old big black county.
Yeah,
Because do that.
Because the heroin capital is not PG.
But they don't consider Baltimore part of Maryland, so we out of here.
No, but
that's the first thing they say. Like, nah, that Baltimore.
But
that's so
listen,
different.
Baltimore is not the heroin capital in Maryland.
What's the heroin capital of Maryland?
I'm a code at AA.
Word? Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
White people drug.
Yeah, So nobody listen to this and he putting this negative stuff out there first.
It's all good.
All they gotta do is research it.
Party favors,
It's
man.
been like that for the past 4 years.
Yeah,
So, but
that
comment was made earlier, and I just want to capitalize on a little bit more, expand. We talk about research. I think we say that, but I think we got to teach our people how to research appropriately. All you gotta do is research.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my bad. You right.
Nah, I think we gotta do that because what happens is then we get into these false narratives, and that's one thing that has people pushing out on emotions when they should really kind of be with great intention working towards these problems with some specifics and some data. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get away from the sports, but it was said twice. I want to make sure we hit that.
You're right, because sometimes people take the first thing that they see and run with it. And be like, oh, I saw this. And we're like, what's the source?
And I got to check myself on that a lot because I get intertwined with it. Like, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
But
people swear by Wikipedia.
I know that's right.
I saw it on here.
I know.
What?
Hey,
y'all
know they got tracker on your phone now, the COVID tracker, right?
Man,
oh yeah.
I saw that.
What you mean?
Go check it out.
Yeah,
just go to your settings.
Go to your settings. It's on there.
I went to it. I went to settings. I went to health, and it wasn't under there.
Hey, Spence, ex-military, so he may have got a pass.
Because none of y'all.
He might be the spook, so we need to hang out with you then.
Yeah,
you got me, Spence.
My phone went down for like a whole day. I didn't realize my phone went down for a whole
Everybody's
day.
Yeah,
yeah,
except Spence.
But nah, because y'all was texting the whole day.
Hey, I know why, because
group chat.
Spence, did you already make that transition to the
yeah.
That's another plug right there.
I don't know what you're saying.
What's the black-owned company, the phone company? I forgot. I know we talked about earlier.
Figures.
Yeah, Figures. See, he done switched over to Figures. They ain't touching Figures yet.
Yeah, shout out to Figures. Yeah, you can't touch me. We tapped in there. We got towers in Nigeria.
Right.
Hey,
that's a heck of a satellite.
Hold on, is that a real thing? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, Figures phone, man.
So this is funny, right? This is funny. While me and my wife sit there and watch like African and Nigerian movies like all day long now when we got free time.
Word, hey, but they kind of be funny though.
Yeah, they are surprisingly not good. I'm not saying surprising like Africans shouldn't know how to do media, but I just
That's exactly what you just said.
Send your hate emails to @Spencer.
That's exactly what you just said.
I have to take that shirt off, brother.
All right, for my brothers and sisters from the mother continent, I apologize for that comment. Now,
So hold on, can I ask a quick question?
Yo.
Go ahead.
So in the top of my phone, in the right corner where mine says T-Mobile, yours says figures.
Nah.
Oh, help me out. Help me out.
No, we ain't get there, yo. We haven't got the phone yet. We ain't got the
It's
phone
a
yet.
phone. It's called Figures. Look it up. It's Figures. They make it. It's called
Figures.
Figures.
Yeah,
My apologies for being so ignorant. My bad.
no, you good. And I would say research it, but Smith just told me that. So I'm gonna share some sources with you, bro. I'll send it to you. I'll provide the source.
I provide the sources.
Right.
Hey, so y'all still eating maple syrup and eating rice? Then they gonna take your auntie and uncle off the box.
Yo.
Man,
So
doing too much, man.
no, on some real stuff, right? So I think it's twofold, at least for me. So I hear what they're saying, they want to make a change. But my thing is, change the name then. You don't have to remove the image.
Right.
Because, removing that image, like, removes representation that we have a place in it. Now, I get it, it's not a Black-owned company, but, like, I think it's okay for us to be able to have those representations present, right? So when people see things, yeah, he can change his smile. they don't know about that shucking yet. So I think it's kind of interesting that they do that.
And if I already got it in my house, I'm supposed to throw this away. We don't waste no food up over here, man. We about to be in a recession. Like,
Yo, I got 6 bags. I'm going
I said, you got to ask yourself what you willing to sacrifice, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I'm throwing that away.
Like, yo, I'm willing to die for mine. But
right.
I didn't say that. I said you got to ask yourself what you willing to do. I'm not.
So he letting you know now. He not.
So he ain't throwing no food away. No, that ain't happening. That's not happening.
I guess I'm gonna have to eat this last bit of rice.
I got all this Waffle House waffle mix.
You did
I got yes sir. I gotta take care of that. You know what I'm saying?
So we're talking about the situation, but we really never gave opening statement of what we're talking about. And we assume that our audience knows about, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, and the reason why there is now an uproar behind those images that's on the box for those things. So, I mean, I guess the historical perspective is that negative perceptions of African and African Americans are used in a manner to belittle and not show the full representation for a lot of things in the past, such as we talk about Sambo, and we talk about Step and Fetch It, and those representations.
Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah, Bojangles. Can't forget that.
Those are representations in media, but now for a long time, a lot of those other representations have been moved, and so now you still have Aunt Jemima, who's supposed to. I think she represents what a mammy or a slave.
Mammy. Yeah, that's what she Aunt Jemima was a mammy.
A mammy, okay.
She looked like a damn mammy on the picture.
Huh?
What?
She looked like a mammy. Like, like we've been saying this for years about Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben.
We have.
So this like it just came to light now. Like we've been saying this for a year, or for years.
So is it that it represents a time in our subjugated, or do we have aunties that really talk like that? Hey, baby, come on in. I have an auntie that talks like that.
We all do.
And so, what side of what are we really battling? Are we battling what our representation is, or how we want it to be put? And that's kind of the question.
Mm-hmm.
Because same people talking about change that daggone Aunt Jemima need to stop watching them daggone Medea movies. Same difference, right?
Oh gosh!
So if you out there at the next Medea movie, then I don't want to hear nothing about no damn.
They're trying to support Tyler Perry, bro.
Man,
he need to do it himself.
Them Medea movies are stereotypes wrapped in a box.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And just delivered.
Which means why change it? Leave the shit the way it is.
Wait, bro.
That's the way I look at it.
No, bro. I'm not gonna.
We gotta cut them, man.
Wait a minute.
We gotta cut them.
That's right, bro. That's like saying, like, so ain't no point of us protesting protesting or advocating for, social justice and doing prison reform and all that, say like screw it, like ain't no need to change. What?
Now
I
we
don't
got
know.
we got to make those changes.
Yeah,
You got to
we
make changes, but
stuff.
you also got to keep that history so you don't forget either. To say this is how they depict you. So when we say you shouldn't be acting like that because this, right? So you gotta keep something there. And like you said, put them in a museum. Some people said, tear the statues down, put them in a museum, and say like this is this like they do everything else. So just kind of keep that history to say like this does happen because what happens? Let's say 100 years from now, we done tore down the statues, we done ripped up all the history and all this other stuff. People forget over time like what happened. But you say, but that's how we get to where we at now. We don't. Everybody doesn't know our history. They don't know about Juneteenth. They don't
Yeah,
know
but I'm saying that's
all this
why
stuff. It's
they
like
tore
it's
it
lost in
down and got
history.
rid of it. They
Right.
lost.
So we're talking about doing the same thing, but you can't because then you have a revolt on that side. Like so you gotta tear it down, but you also got to still preserve it in a way where you don't forget. Like this is what has happened. You don't want black folk eventually growing up to feel like they just always had it sweet in this country or in this world, and it is operating. Like you got to understand, like just like we always hit back. You got to know what your ancestors fought for. You got to know what they did. It's the same thing. So a lot of them things are a marker too. Like when you down in the South and you start seeing Confederate flags and stuff, you're more aware of where I'm at. This is where I'm at. I need to tighten up. I mean, you always got to tighten up, but it's like markers, like you know where you at.
Yeah. So so I was raised in an area that Confederate flags were very much a part of the landscape, and to the point where I'm sitting in classes with young men and young women that have Confederate flags on their book bags, or they got a shirt on, or they have it behind their trucks as a flag waving. And it's always interesting and peculiar because a lot of them were good people. I mean, good people, that would help you change your tire, that would share their food with you. Good morning, so I think it's a little bit more evolved than just good versus bad. And for me, I'm not saying there was no racism at all, but there was an ability to have commingling, so we had kids in the same school that had a Malcolm X shirt and a hat on, and they were sitting right beside some guy that had a Confederate shirt on, and they were able to have civil conversations. Now they might have been asking each other to come over each other's house, and sometimes they did. I mean, it's peculiar when you live in these areas about what people follow their representation is and what it means for the past, and then what it means for the present right now. As a teacher, I remember some of my students wearing Confederate flags, and these students would stay after and help me pile my books up. They would go run errands for me. Hey, yes, sir, we'll talk about football. They would bring food. Hey, my mama brought this to you. It was just, it wasn't as easy as saying because you wear this or you represent this that you are ready to attack me face to face right now, or vice versa. Just because I had a Marcus Garvey shirt on, I wasn't ready to come and spit in your face or smack you because you had a Confederate flag on. And so growing up, you understand that representation wasn't your representation, and it was in the past, it was very much conflicting directly.
Yes.
But then how do you marry that with this person is a decent person down at heart? Like they would give value more than he would take it away. So that's the kind of confusing part I had then, and even kind of there, even now.
Well, let me say this. It's we just live in a very sensitive times right now. I too grew up in a very diverse, setting. I used to spend the night at my white friend's house. On Friday nights, my shows was The Dukes of Hazzard and The Incredible Hulk. They came on Friday nights. I would actually spend the night at a white person's house and be watching that. Did I know the whole thing about the Confederate flag? Because, the car was a General Lee, in Dukes of Hazzard. But you know me, I'm a dude. I'm looking at Daisy Dukes. And them shorts. You know, and if you look at the guy who played in the Dukes of Hazzard, he's now one of Tyler Perry's good actors that's on the Have and Have Nots. I played Luke Duke. So it's like all this shit, man. The stuff just done changed, man. It's like so you're saying if I walk around with my Dukes of Hazzard shirts now, let's say I was famous, and I walk around if I had the General Lee Dukes of Hazzard T-shirt on,
They gonna cancel you.
Tyler, you can sell out. Let's say if I was famous, you know, I had my Dukes of Hazzard T-shirt on with the General Lee on there with the Confederate flag. Am I a sellout?
I think
there'll be some questions.
I can't speak.
The media bring it all the way out.
Right.
Exactly.
He got that shirt on. He down with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was about to say.
He down with everything. The media has blown this shit out of proportion.
Yeah, because I think the media and the culture would cancel you, and the media would try to expose it, because I think that's, and y'all hear me out. Let me finish the sentence or y'all shut me down, because I think that's kind of like the equivalence of like when Kanye wore the hat, the Make America Great Again, right? Again, I haven't had a conversation with her. I don't know what the reasoning was for it, but as soon as people saw that, they was like, oh no, he with them, and they was ready to, you know, throw him out with the bathwater. So I think like there must be something there that he felt like he could connect to. Right now, of course, he said some other things like slavery was a choice that people really ran with it did. After he said that, it was like, yo, this dude lunching. But I think as soon as you see that, right, or as soon as you see a black person, period, wearing one of those red caps, right, and you looking to see what they say, and you see that, and you like, oh, they out here, you know, cooling, right? Like the y'all seen the video. So I'm sure if you did that now, bro, yeah, the cancel culture is gonna cancel.
Yeah. Now I couldn't wear that shirt.
Asking.
I couldn't wear the shirt because I know what the shirt represents.
Right.
Even if you have the television show, I still know the background. And now, if I've progressed from youth to adult, I have a responsibility for those in my community to understand that, no, I don't agree with this that's happening. All right? What's right?
No, my bad.
No, you good. You good. So I don't agree with the Confederate flag, and many times I had to explain to those individuals what it meant for my community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start to see, you know, I say, you know, I get it. I don't necessarily have to agree with you, but now I get it. And, you know, that starts conversations, man. And, you know, that's how we're ever going to get to a point where we're going to be able to deal with this situation of race and racism.
So it was awareness. It was awareness back then.
Yeah.
I think in the early, probably the early 80s to late, to mid 90s, there was a very diverse thing that was going on. I think we were living more in harmony. Although systemic racism was there, those are the times were good. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, we had those shows, but we wasn't really aware. My parents didn't tell me, if they were such aware, I ain't let you go in them white folks' house because they might do this. No, I spent out with several white folks' house because, like I said, that's what I was growing up with. And I'm pretty sure my parents went through the race, the racist days and the stuff, Jim Crow and all that stuff. So it was something where it was a parenting, they had trust enough to say, okay, you can go to this white person's house, you know what I'm saying? And I knew it was going to be a different culture.
Yeah.
When I went over there. I drank warm freaking milk when I spent out at that dude's house, that white boy house.
You did what?
Milk for dinner, man. Warm milk for dinner.
Yeah. So, my parents the same way. They're like, all right, you can go to his house. You can't go to these niggas' house. All
right. They were more so going back, hey, you can't go to their house because they had drugs going in out of that shit.
Mhm.
That's a bad neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You go to this white person's house and get educated on their culture or whatever.
Yeah, and we don't do that. We don't do it enough now. I think we don't invite people into our homes of different faiths,
Backgrounds.
different backgrounds. Not just white and black thing. That's the easy thing now that everybody talks about. But I wanted to go back on one of your comments, Tally, to say that I think there were still issues between the race back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
However, social media and everybody having a cell phone wasn't able to bring it to light like we see it now.
That's true. That's true.
And
That's
so
true.
we had the benefit of being ignorance, and ignorance is bliss at the time, you know. And so, you know, I might have went to his house as soon as I left. They said, yeah, that black boy, you know, that black, you know, and it just happens like that sometimes.
And
you know,
ate up all my Cheetos.
That's 100 nigga.
That's a one pretty nigga.
Yeah.
you know, we on this platform. We keep saying white boy, you know, white man. You know, we still using race as an adjective, a very limiting adjective, even within this community here. You find an old black person, who said that? Chris Rock said,
Crack ass cracker.
you find an old black person, they the most racist person around, you know, in private. You know, and so I think right now, like somebody said, it's very, the media has grabbed it, and not that it shouldn't have the attention it has, but I think there's a lot of people getting paid off of this at this point right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I keep saying, for us not to get caught up in the emotionality, but use this now as a platform to spring and come up with a plan and work that plan in our homes and in our communities, because we got to strike it while the iron is hot right now. We got to use this as an opportunity.
Yeah, it's the momentum.
Like
we got to dictate which direction it goes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great way to close this one out. What y'all think?
All right. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What y'all think?
Sound like a winner.
Sound like he ready to go to Z-Town over there, bro.
Oh,
next
Oh no, hey, I'm up, man. I'm woke. Hey, I'm
Go ahead and
woke.
plant it, Spence. Go ahead and plant that seed.
Next week, we talk financial literacy.
Right.
We keep
We
talking
have to.
sport and race.
We have to.
We have to talk about this financial literacy.
Well, we left it.
It's so important.
I left it open. We left it open. True Blood said something about it, and I was like, "All right, you gonna get into it? You ain't get into it." I was like, "All right."
I think it was a quick pivot back to sports, which is it happened, but yeah, we're gonna be more purposeful about you know, and just discussing it. I don't want to assume people don't know what I was gonna say enlighten, but like either enlighten some and try to expand others people's just thought process, right?
Yeah.
Get them to start viewing it from multiple perspectives, right? A different vantage point, because I think we view money from one vantage point. So
just having a different mindset. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, so then,
you gonna get him those Spence.
Yeah, Spence gonna really get on y'all.
Well, you know he is
next week. You know what I mean? So, but until then, catch up. Y'all can catch up on all our old episodes if you missed one. On
yes, sir.
We on YouTube at Brothers Podcast. We on Instagram at Brothers Podcast 1. Same thing for Twitter. On all your streaming services: Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Pandora, all of that. We on all that. Anybody got anything they want to shout out? Anybody want to shout out? Whatever.
We on Title yet? Yeah. On Title? That's Black Don't.
Yeah, Title. No, not Title. Not Title yet. They weird. They weird. That ain't on me. They weird.
They still ain't release it.
Yeah. They weird with Title.
I'm gonna holler at Jay real quick.
You do that. You do that.
You do that for us.
Yeah,
hey, I want to do a shout out.
I want to get off the phone with LeBron.
A couple of shout outs. I want to shout out to my man Troy Weaver, who's now a GM for the Detroit Pistons. He's the 9th black man to ever become a general manager in the NBA. So salutes to my brother. I know him personally. And also another shout out to all of, I guess, us, black It doesn't make a difference who you are, woman, man, child, whatever. June is the month of awareness of health. Okay, we need to make sure that we're out here doing what we need to do, putting the right things in our bodies. Out here getting physically fit. Especially us men. Making sure we out here getting checked up and going to our annual checkups. I mean, you got to do what we need to do out here, fellas. To make sure that we stay healthy, have that good eating lifestyle, and that good doing what we need to do, because it's Without a doubt, man. Because I don't want to show my guns, because I've been doing. I mean, my life. I mean, I'm just like physically fit. When I get back out here in the real world, I tell you, gonna see a different JC. That's all I know.
Okay.
You ain't gonna be getting no more flat screen TVs talking like that. It's gonna be the last flat screen.
Maybe that's the reason why I'm getting. Maybe that's the reason I'm getting the flat screen.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Hey.
Big talk over there. Big talk over there.
Big talk.
I'm gonna have to start rolling up some sleeves myself then when I go upstairs. Where my flat screen at?
Flame, you got some stuff you need to shout out, promote?
Yeah, man. I just announced today I'm about to drop a new album next month. That thing's called Slap City. Can't wait. It's gonna be a movie. It's actually pretty dope. I'm excited to put that thing out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be hearing about it. I'm in official album mode right now.
You should have had the album. You should have had the album cover up on the TV though.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, the album cover's crazy, but album cover's just a taste of what the whole thing's gonna be like. Y'all gonna get fresh copies. I'm doing CDs because I know y'all a little old school, but I'm doing physical copies also. But I'm giving those out as souvenirs to certain people. But y'all gonna have some on the way as well, and some merch. I got y'all. Don't worry.
Thank you, brother.
Yes,
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get a radio edit version too, cause this one's a little more.
So we can play it in the car with the family.
Yeah. I like to let my dad listen to it too. So you know what I'm saying.
Hey, Tally need a trap gospel version.
Right.
I could do that too, for real. We can work something out if you got some vocals, man. We can work something out.
That's what you're doing.
Hey, the movie gotta have praise dances in it too.
That's crazy.
That's what we doing, right?
I said trap gospel.
Right.
Hey, they said it, not me.
I know y'all all in cahoots, man.
I mean, I ain't want to get into it how they were saying, like, they tearing all these statues. You tear down them white Jesus statues too. That's what they saying now. That's what they saying now.
Take them down.
That's what they saying.
That's great.
That's what they said.
Oh gosh.
So,
the next episode.
Take y'all off. Everybody's coming out.
Shots, man. I see that, man. Just throwing shots, baby. Throwing shots in there.
Hey, he hit you in red too, Tyler.
Oh my goodness.
He just straight slapped you. He didn't even punch you. He just opened it.
That's the booster cable. The nephew boosted it up.
Exactly. Wow.
Look at Spence.
Man,
Wow.
Hold on, wait,
was that a tambourine?
That's Flame over there. Flame over there looking something up.
But you can't see my screen, so don't worry about me right now.
Oh, I'm about to say, you know what I mean?
Putting that thing up, man. Oh. Never mind.
Yeah, we're about to stop right now.
You know what? I got you. Hold on. I got you, brother.
Playing games with me right now.
While y'all doing that, I got a shout out, man. You talk about men's health. I want to shout out Drink Spizzy, which is a juice and smoothie spot in Prince George's County by my man Victorious Hall. Man, I ate there today, man. Super clean, super energized. He hook you up. Vegan options, vegetarian options. So shout out to Victorious, man, brother Victorious, and those Spizzy smoothies that he has.
Where's it at?
It's in Camp Springs, all right off of Allentown Road. So You know, he's a good dude, man. Anybody know this guy, man? You know he's powerful. His energy is powerful. His words are powerful. And now he's become an entrepreneur.
That's what's up.
Mm.
That's dope. All right. I have to add that to the list.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Promo code.
I guess
I want to give a shout out to
Promo
my
code.
homegirl in Charlotte. She just became she's one of the ones where I went through the master program with administration. She became a principal. Got a principal at a middle Cochran Middle School. Paula Cook Sloan. I know you probably ain't watching this, but I'm giving you some love because that's big stuff right there.
That's what's up.
Big stuff.
Shit, I'm gonna shoot. I got a little cuz. He actually just graduated from high school, but he has a clothing line. I wore his sweater a few episodes back. Enigma. So he's doing really big things. He's down in Atlanta, and he's definitely growing. He's growing. He started out doing like tie-dye style hoodies, and now he's expanding to denim jeans and t-shirts. So like shout him out, big ups. Yeah, like really proud of what he started with and like the move that he's making looking real prosperous. So
it's good, bro.
Yeah, Lil Nate.
All right.
Enigma.
I don't have nothing to shout out right now. I guess I'll shout out me just for being me.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir.
Being great.
Yes, sir.
There you go. That's good.
Shout out to all my brothers over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody staying healthy. Everybody staying alive. Everybody staying productive.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Got to.
Check me out on Mixcloud as well if you want. Starting to have some parties over there. Mixcloud.
Yeah, share the themes too. Tell them about the themes you got.
I mean, we got all type of things, man. We got Friday. It's this Feel It Friday. We just jam everything: R&B, disco, hip hop, whatever. Saturday straight hip hop all day long. So you know it's gonna have some cursing and stuff in there for y'all. But hey, it is what it is. Sunday Soul Sundays, nothing but soulful grooves for the grown folk. You know
There we go. There we
vibe
go.
to on a Sunday.
Here we go.
Stevie Wonder, OJ's, you know, Ozzy Brothers, stuff like that.
Spence.
Hey,
Go ahead.
somebody said you got a day where you just do all R. Kelly.
Don't you have that on Wednesday, right?
It's not gonna get me canceled over here, brother.
No, I thought you said that was Hump Day. You got that on Hump Day, Wednesday. I thought you said Wednesday was R. Kelly Day.
Yeah.
I heard that too, Spence. I heard that too.
Oh my
Y'all stupid.
God.
But it's called Black. It's called
Hey,
Black Radio.
man,
It's
y'all
called
rock.
Black Radio, not pedophile radio. So you know what we're gonna get in.
No, you talked about the gays. You know what I'm talking about? I said what I said.
Oh, this is the longest closing.
I thought we were supposed to end this show. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Jill Scott. Anybody got her information? Tell her.
Oh, God.
Speak from Philly.
Oh, God.
Look, we getting up out of here, man. We about to get real
Right.
silly. All right, yo. We catch y'all next week, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all
Yep,
be good.
peace.
Be blessed.
Peace.
You good.